Hey friends, this is Brant Spessart with Steward Strategies. I just want to say thank you for tuning in and investing a few minutes with me as we do an economic review of the second quarter for 2026. At Steward Strategies, a lot of you are familiar with this slide. We believe that knowledge is power. We want to be good stewards. We make wise financial decisions. So our best client is an educated client. But one thing we always have to keep in mind is when we make financial decisions in one part of our financial plan, it's probably going to affect other areas of our financial plan as well. So that's why here at Steward Wealth Strategies, we take a holistic approach and we help our clients in the areas of investment management, retirement planning, tax, protection, estate planning. And one of my favorite topics to talk about is generosity. How can we be a blessing with what we've been blessed with? Now, this year, like so many other years, has been a year of volatility. Markets have seen a lot of ups and downs along the way. In fact, at the end of first quarter, we were all shocked when we saw the negative returns on our statements for Q1. But here in second quarter, we've actually hit some all-time highs. So the market's been volatile, but what has it shown us? That patience is a virtue. Try not to hit the panic button. Stay invested. But we have not shied away from headlines this year, just like over the past 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Think of all the headlines that we've seen. But as long as investors have hung on, stayed diversified, and not try to time the market, but just stuck with it, wealth has been created long term. Now, one of the major headlines we're all thinking about is inflation. And more specifically, we're thinking about the price that we're paying at the pump. Energy prices have been up and down this year. In fact, if you think about it, the national average price for gas at one point was over $4.50 a gallon this year. Right now, though, it's down to about $3.80 a gallon. Now, the good news is if you're one of my neighbors here in North Carolina or a little farther south in South Carolina, you can see by this map a light blue state and a dark blue state. Now, that's not a Carolina or a Duke reference right there, but we are paying lower average prices here in the Carolinas than most folks around the country. So gas prices have been quite volatile, just like the stock market. But the good news is right now, while the market's hitting all-time highs, we're paying a little bit lower prices right now at the pump than we were earlier this year. Now, we do have to keep in mind interest rates. What's going on? What's going on with the Fed? The Fed has a dual mandate. They monitor unemployment and they monitor inflation. And they control inflation by raising rates or lowering interest rates. And we've expected to see some rate changes this year. In fact, a while ago, we were expecting possibly a rate decrease, but rates have remained unchanged so far this year. And there is talk that maybe rates will go up a little bit later this year. But no one knows. The Fed is very unpredictable, but we just have to stay informed. And that's one of our roles here at Steward Wealth Strategies, to stay updated and then keep you informed in how these changes may or may not affect your financial plan. Now, if we think about interest rates, a lot of times we think about what's it cost to borrow. While interest rates are a little higher now than they were a few years ago, it costs a little bit more for a mortgage than it did. But also for investors that are thinking about safety or conservative investments, interest rates, higher interest rates right now, are better for savers. It's tougher for borrowers. And right now, if we look at the treasuries, treasury yields are a little bit higher now than where they were 12 years ago. And if we look at more conservative safety type instruments like savings, checking, money market, CD, national averages right now for money market and CD, according to bankrate.com, are about 0.5% and almost 2%. That is a little bit higher than where it was last year, but still nothing to get too excited about. There's a cost for safety. If I put too much money in a safe investment, I'm not really earning much, and I'm definitely not keeping up with inflation. So volatility, as uncomfortable as it is, it's not uncommon. It is part of, I know sometimes we don't like to hear this, but it is part of the normal investment experience. We have to focus on long term. We have to stay diversified. We have to take in consideration our risk tolerance. But we have to focus on time in the market and not trying to time the market. It's time in, not timing. We all know the saying, buy low, sell high. But human emotion, fear, and greed will get the best of us. Sometimes that could cause us to buy high and sell low. But there are opportunities out there. Take advantage sometimes when there's a dip, those can be great entry points in the market. Those could be great times to buy. Could create opportunities with volatility in terms of tax harvesting. Could also create some opportunities in terms of Roth conversions. But one thing we need to do, and we have to arm ourselves, put on that armor to try to protect yourself against inflationary news and media. Just know that somebody's always trying to get you to click, read, watch this video, and the best way to get people to do that is to cause concern over their money. So just know that your team here at Steward Strategies is here for you. Reach out to us if you ever have concerns, but also at the same time if you ever have questions. Now, one way to help safeguard against volatility is to make sure other areas of our financial plan are in check, and having a fully funded emergency fund, avoiding or limiting debt, making sure that we've got short-term expenses covered. It is a whole lot easier to let our portfolio ride the ups and downs of the market in the short term to focus on the long term if we know we have our short-term liquidity needs covered. Now, one area of financial planning that most people agree on is they don't want to pay more taxes than they need to. One of the resources we offer here at Steward Wealth Strategies is an annual tax analysis. If you have not provided your 2025 tax return to us yet, please do so. Reach out to your wealth manager or your wealth associate and send us a copy of your tax return. We can help you upload that, encrypted securely so that we can perform a tax analysis. We would much rather plan strategically today and prepare and try to reduce taxes. Sometimes it may not be today, but it could be over a lifetime so that we can build more wealth later on down the road for ourselves. Maybe that's more money that we can give, or maybe more money that we can leave as a legacy. So here's our takeaways. Markets have been volatile. That's probably something I'm going to say next year, the year after that. Markets are volatile. Investing is not for the faint of heart. But we have to know that we have to focus on the long term. The Fed hasn't really made any changes yet at the time of this recording. Rates have stayed the same. They're about 3.5% to 3.75%. Inflationary numbers are something we're keeping up with. A lot of that has been driven by fuel prices or oil prices and the conflict in Iran. Treasury yields, they've gone up a little bit, just like money markets and CDs have gone up a little bit, but still nothing to get too excited about. But market downturns can create opportunity. Where there's concern, there's opportunity. So reach out to us if you have concerns, but at the same time, you're thinking, hey, look, I'd like to be strategic for the long term. Is there something I can take advantage of during this volatility? Try to maintain liquidity and avoid debt if possible. And then also, remember, financial planning is long term. And we need to focus on some of the fundamentals. Living within our means. Sometimes that means having a budget, avoiding debt, having emergency funds, saving for the future, and trying to, not outsmart the markets. Sometimes that tortoise and the hare fable needs to be reminded. It's just steady, focus on the long term, and that's what it takes to succeed. We're here for you. If you have questions, reach out to us. If you have concerns, reach out to us. We know there's a lot of change going on, updates, news. Look, our Steward Wealth Strategies team is so grateful for you. Our best clients continue to come from you, our best clients. We would love for you to consider being an SWS ambassador. If you have a friend or family member that's concerned right now that would just like a second opinion, please keep us in mind. We also have some updated presentation materials. If you have a group that you would like us to come speak to, we love the opportunities to come speak to groups. Follow us on social media. Keep up with our team members, their advancements, what's some of the fun going on. But, get to know the culture behind your financial planning firm. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for allowing us to serve you and your family. It's hard to believe we're already into the second half of 2026. We're grateful to serve you, and we really do value your trust, and it's an honor. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and God bless you.